is going on? Thank you guys for joining. What's up? This is Hot Topics. For those who don't know who I am and you need a refresher, I'm Mark Lewis, nothing special to it. Just giving you some information. Here's my Facebook. If you're not watching me, if you are watching me on Facebook, you already know this. But if you are watching me on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe. Please subscribe to that channel. We need more subscribers. Please subscribe. Let me give some shout outs here. We have Lynn, Benita. What's going on, Debbie? Allison, Ebony, Michelle, Pastor Molden. How are you? Good to see you. Laura, Adam, and a couple other people I can't see. Please, thank you guys for joining Hot Topics. I really appreciate it. I'm Mark Lewis, and we're about to get into some interesting dialogue now. So, if the stream is buffering, just hold on. I not understanding what happens. I understand there are a couple other people who are live streaming, and it starts off really good, right? And then all of a sudden it slows down, and then it buffers, and then it cleans up again. So just kind of hold tight. It's going to clean up. Trust me, it will clean up. Just hold tight. I try to filibuster just a little bit until it starts cleaning up. I don't know what it does. I don't know what takes it. I don't know why it does this. I'll probably start a new, try to figure out some other ways to figure this out. But anyway, hope you guys are doing well. It is Thursday, the last day of the month. Black History Month. This is it. This is it. We've had a hell of a Black History Month, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it has been one Black History Month that will probably go down in history as one of the Black History Months that we probably just want to forget, because we need a do-over. We haven't been able to celebrate the accomplishments that African Americans have had to this particular country without a lot of the mess that has occurred. And I don't even really want to go through all the mess that went down in this whole entire month. There's been some talk about how we need to do another Black History Month. I think some people are looking at doing it in June, around Juneteenth, because it is just, this has been a Black History Month not for a lot of people. It's been very disappointing, to be honest with you. We've been extremely disappointed because some of the things that we've seen, we felt like, well, we should have known this already. But honestly, apparently America needs to have an awakening of what's really going on in their hearts, and some of the things that we thought that we've moved past, and apparently we have it. And we have it. It's just interesting. So anyway, definitely, Ebony, I'm going to talk about the gun thing tonight, but I wanted to, in the spirit of Black History Month, and it's the end of Black History, I have a cup, guys. This is a cup. One of my dear faithful watchers hooked me up with this cup, and it's called the Chisholm Kid. A lot of you guys don't know what the Chisholm Kid is, but it is on display at Gilcrease Museum. I want you guys to go to Gilcrease Museum. This display is happening at Gilcrease Museum. It is beautiful, and the Chisholm Kid is the first African-American comic book. A lot of you guys didn't know this. I didn't either, right? But anyway, I'm going to play a video so you guys can kind of get some background of it. And this is coming from the Gilcrease Museum's website. So you guys can kind of see what the Chisholm Kid is all about. And definitely it's I think the Gilcrease is like $6 or $8. And I think some Sundays they have it for free. But anyway, watch this video. It's very important. Chisholm Kid.
Chisholm Kid, my favorite comic. Despite a veiled warning from Kurt Rader, a powerful citizen of the region, the Chisholm Kid is determined to solve the slaying of a young man. And he doesn't even know the identity of the slain man. But a piece of printer's type from his pocket is his clue. Hi, I'm Mark Doff, Curator of History for Gilcrease Museum. And I want to make you aware of an exciting, fun, new exhibition we have opening on December 14th, The Chisholm Kid, Lone Fighter for Justice for All. The Chisholm Kid was a color comic strip first published in 1950 in the Pittsburgh Courier, the nation's preeminent African-American newspaper. And as someone who grew up in the 1960s, I really associate with the Chisholm Kid. It takes me back to a time when I rushed downstairs each morning to get the Sunday funnies before my dad could get them and read all of my favorite week-to-week comics. What I find compelling about the Chisholm Kid is the storylines from the early 1950s and how they resonate with issues that we are dealing with today in 2018. The Chisholm Kid, Lone Fighter for Justice for All, opens Friday, December 14th at Gilcrease Museum. See you there.
So that is the Chisholm Kid, and I think you guys need to go and check that out. What's up, Will? All right, Chisholm Kid. It's at Gilcrease Museum. Just go and see it. I mean, they brought it in, and when curators bring in information like this, we definitely need to go out and support this because this is history. These are things that we didn't know of. So definitely go out and support and go look and understand what the Chisholm Kid is all about. You get a chance to read some of the comics that's there, and it's really interesting. He's a black cowboy. Excuse me, he's a black cowboy, and so it's really, really interesting. All right, guys, let me go on into some politics because that's what you're here for. You're here for politics, right? You're here for politics. Of course, you're here for politics. So I was traveling, and so I know I didn't get a chance to do my live on Tuesday. So I'm definitely going to try to make it up to you guys because I know I have a lot of stuff I want to say, but I haven't been able to kind of say it the way I want to say it. But so I came here, and when I got here this morning at 11:30, I went to the QT, and I see that the governor has signed a bill, the constitutional carry. From what I understand for this particular bill, what it's basically saying is simply this, that you have a constitutional right to carry a firearm. That's what they're saying for this particular bill. You have a constitutional right to carry a firearm. What does that mean? From my understanding, what it means is that if you don't have a felony on your record, you can openly carry a handgun or a rifle, I'm assuming. And that's where we are right now. The governor has signed it, and this is where we are right now. Yes, Oklahoma, now you can carry a firearm. I don't know when the law itself is going to come in. It looks like it's starting in November. Okay, I just read that part. Starting in November, apparently it goes into effect in November. So there has been a lot of people who have been against this. There were ministers, pastors, law enforcement groups have been against this. I was against it. But you know what? I was thinking, right? And I said to myself, I was like, you know what? Look, if they want everybody to have a handgun and that's what they want, that's what they're about to get. So I think sometimes, especially for people who are marginalized and people who are in the people of color in a certain position, I think sometimes we are looking at situations as it's bad. Well, this is basically saying that you can protect yourself. This is basically saying that you have the right. Absolutely, Will. You have the right to, God is giving you that right. I didn't know that God gave the right for steel. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I'm being sarcastic. I didn't know that, but apparently you have that right. But listen, this is the way I look at this situation. And I look at it from the point of view, and I'm going to go back to Black Panthers. The Black Panthers had they carried firearms. And they carried them, and they carried them, and they carried them. And Ronald Reagan was the governor at the time. He did not want black people walking around the state capitol carrying guns. He didn't. Ronald Reagan, the man that the Republican Party loves the most, passed the most comprehensive legislation about having guns. And this is something that happened. And it was cool when everybody else had guns, but when the black people started carrying guns, it was like, oh my God. And that's what happened. Ebony, from my understanding, you do not need to have a permit to now have a firearm if you do not have, if you have a felony, you can't get a firearm. But if you're clean and you basically we're putting people out of work now, because remember all these little concealed carry classes. There's no need now. There's no need to have a license at all. So here's my thoughts on this. My thoughts is that I think black folks and people of color who don't have felony records, I think y'all need to go out and buy a bunch of guns. That's what I believe. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, Mark, you're giving in to the people. You're giving in to this. You're giving in to that. Listen, let me tell you guys something here. I have always felt like this. If there is nothing more that you need to be ready and prepared and educated and arm yourself to make sure that you are not on the opposite end because you're holding true to say, no, I don't want to have a firearm. You don't want to have a firearm, that's on you, okay? But I really believe that if black folks and people of color start arming themselves, walking down the street, I guarantee you these laws are going to change. I guarantee you the laws are going to change. Why? Because we have been advocating for so long to not have, guns are bad and, it's in the wrong hands, gun violence and all those different things. But my question to all of us, do you in Oklahoma, if you live in Oklahoma, do you want to live in a state where you are out armed? Answer that question. Do you want to live in a state that you're out armed? I don't think you should. No, I don't believe you can get a refund because it's not effective until November 1st. So I don't think you can get a refund. But if you do leave the state, remember, having a permit, ladies and gentlemen, having a permit is not just for your state. Having a permit is also for reciprocity. There's about 21, 22 states that have reciprocity for open carry handguns, for not open carry, for handguns. So which means that if you have a permit in the state of Oklahoma, about 20 states will allow you to use the same permit to carry in their state. And in order to find that out, you have to go to the FBI website and they will list the states. It's called reciprocity, meaning that the states will honor the Oklahoma license. And that's what that means. They will honor it. So, the way I feel is that we need to go out here and go buy some damn firearms. I'm sorry. I mean, I know this seems to be crazy. I'm sorry. I keep changing all the formats. I'm trying to get it right. I know this may seem to be crazy, but I mean, do you want to be outmanned? Do you want to be outgunned? I mean, let's just logically think about this, y'all. And I know I'm going against conventional wisdom for everyone who is saying this is wrong, but it's law now, okay? It's going to go law in November, and unless somebody can find a unconstitutional right and a way to sue the government, this is going to be law. So either we get pissed off and say to ourselves, we're not going to do anything, we're just going to be mad, or we're going to get to a point and we're going to go out here and purchase our own handguns and our rifles, and we're going to be able to, and you can still go take a class, because I do recommend, ladies and gentlemen, go and take a class, because shooting a handgun is far different from shooting a shotgun and a rifle. Go out and go take a class. Go take a class. And some of you who are afraid of guns, you might want to leave the state of Oklahoma. Listen, I'm going to give y'all real talk. If you're afraid of guns, you may want to leave the state of Oklahoma, because you guys are about to see an inundation of guns hitting the street of Oklahoma like never before. You're going to see it. Now, here's my fear. My fear is that police officers are automatically going to assume you have a gun now. Before they did, but now it's going to be more strong that you got a gun. You got a gun. When they pull you over, you got a gun. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a gun. And we live in a state where people eat, sleep, and breathe with a gun and a Bible beside their their nightstand. Trust me, we we live and eat and breathe with guns and Bibles in this state. And if you don't believe me, go ask a couple of people. They have a gun beside their Bible, or their Bible beside their gun. They feel like it's their religious right. I'm just telling you. All right. And I the way I feel like it is that, you know, we can sit up here and be pissed off, or we can decide to say we're going to turn around and purchase our own handguns so that we will not be without a gun. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And those who don't like it, I'm sorry, tough. I just feel like this. Go out and go get your own handguns. Summer, you said, I realized real quick how racist the Oath Keepers were in Ferguson when they prompted their white members open carrying, but didn't support the blacks doing the same thing. Absolutely. This is why I'm telling you, Summer, you're on it. I'm telling you, when you start seeing black folks and Latinos and people of color start carrying guns in droves like never before, you're going to see laws change. I promise you. Why? Because there is this fear in America that says that, you know, a black man with a gun, we're afraid of that. All right. Or a black person, period, we're afraid of it. But you put them with a gun and they're legal. They have a constitutional right to carry it. I just think that right now, ladies and gentlemen, I hate using this saying, but it's applicable in this. You know, you can't beat them, join them, and find out where you can fit in. And I recommend other people, listen, go and buy your firearm, carry your firearm, make sure you don't have a felony record. Make sure if you get pulled over, you can tell the police officer you do have a firearm. Again, all the things that stands correct. Make sure you video. Make sure you're calling a family member or a friend on the phone when you get pulled over. Make sure you're very vocal to say, hey, I have a firearm. And they will probably ask you to step out of the car. That what they want to do is to separate you from their firearm. Okay. Just letting you guys know this. This is the way this game is going to go. Police officers are going to be on guard like never before. Come November 1st, them jokers going to be like, woo! And they're going to feel, I mean, they probably will unbuckle their belt and probably have their hand on their gun, because they have to assume now that everybody's going to have a gun. I think the bill was stupid. Okay. When Mary Fallon vetoed the bill and she didn't sign it, she didn't sign it. I applauded that. But Kevin Stitt comes in and he lobbied for it. He campaigned for it. He decided to say, hey, I'm going to do this. Hey, it's going to happen. All right. So we just need to be prepared. And I'm letting you guys know this. When y'all start seeing black and brown people walking around here with guns, you're going to start seeing a lot of changes. Brian, you said you are already outgunned. The white supremacists already are armed. When blacks start carrying handguns, the laws will change. That's what happened in California. Absolutely, Brian. I'm glad you said that, because that's what happened. When black people started carrying firearms, you started seeing, well, we're afraid. We're afraid. That's why I'm telling people right now, go out and go buy your firearms. And in the state of Oklahoma, you can go and buy firearms from private sales. You can do that. That is legal. You can go and buy from a private sale. That seller only has to verify that you are over the age of 18, and you can buy a gun from there. That's where a lot of gun purchases are from these trade shows and from peer-to-peer sales. So I'm just letting you guys know this now. You're a person of color and you've never shot a gun. You live in the state of Oklahoma. You better go get a gun. And I'm just sorry to tell you all this. You better go get a gun. You bet to go get a gun. All right, let me move on from there. Benjamin Netanyahu. Who is this guy? This guy is the prime minister of Israel. He is the prime minister of Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu. I think I said it correctly. Benjamin Netanyahu. Well, that's a tongue twister. Anyway, dude is about to get indicted on corruption charges. He is a sitting prime. They call him prime ministers, but he's technically considered the president of his country. They call him prime minister. We just call ours jackass. I'm sorry. We just call ours president, but he's the prime minister. The army or the military in Paris, the military in Israel is going to indict him on corruption charges. A sitting president. The reason I keep pointing on this sitting president is because this president, Israel is one of the biggest, if not the biggest ally that the United States have, if not the biggest ally. And there's been this talk about the fact that can we indict Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is a sitting president. We have heard from Eric Holder. He's the former DOJ head of DOJ when the Obama administration, and he put out a tweet. He said a sitting president can be indicted. That's what he said. Now, there's this memorandum in DOJ that says that this sitting president cannot be indicted. But Congress and the people know you cannot have a president creating crimes and hide behind the auspice of the office and saying that they cannot be indicted. That's wrong. Well, Israel has turned around and said, we are going to indict you, Prime Minister. Let's talk about what their plans to indict. It was a 2-year investigation. It says the Prime Minister faces 1 count of bribery. Who that sound like, right? 1 count of bribery and 3 counts of breach of trust. And I'll leave it right there. One count of bribery, 3 counts of breach of trust. And it looks as if that the Israeli government is saying, BB, that's what they call him from short, we're done with it. We're not going to have it. And this is going to be interesting because we need to find out how this is working, because guarantee you, our military, our leaders, and our congressional leaders are watching what Israel does to find out whether or not they can indict Don the Khan. Now, let me move on to another subject because it's kind of talking about Donald Trump. The House Democrats have come out today and said that they are going to investigate Donald Trump. And so we are like, okay, what's the investigation? Now we got all these different investigations. They're going to investigate him they're opening up an investigation for abuses of power. And they're basically saying that President Donald Trump, through his attacks on the courts, the Justice Department, the FBI, and the media, according to House official familiar with the plans. It says topics for the inquiry will include Trump's public humiliation of former General Jeff Sessions, his attacks on action by the liberal knife court, his abuse of the reporters as dishonest and enemies of the people, said the person who acts on anonymity base to discuss these sensitive matters. So what does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? Let me try to get this into perspective. Don the Con, we know who he is. We know this, and it's just something that we emphatically know. I mean, this is not anything that we just don't know. We know Don is a con. We know that. But what we don't know is the power play. What is the power play right now? The power play right now is simply this. In my opinion, the hearing that Michael Cohen had opened up a lot of windows. The Democrats were always going to do this already. What's happening is that before the Democrats were really focused on Robert Mueller's report, and they've been so focused on that, saying, hey, we're going to wait until this report, then we will start kind of looking at the impeachment. Now what we're seeing is that the Democrats understand that we have to make a decision. If Robert Mueller's report is not what we really need in order to start impeachment hearings, and there's really no, I would say no red line in the sand, there's really no smoking gun, they're going to have to find another reason to get rid of Donald Trump. And this is what they're doing. We saw it with the hearings with Michael Cohen, and they are trying to look for a reason to get rid of Donald Trump. And he has plenty of reasons. And honestly, I think it's tremendous for us to be sitting here talking right now to know that we have a con man in office. He has conned the American people. Listen, the hearing that they had with Michael Cohen, when Michael Cohen said that Fordham University was being threatened, he wasn't lying. Fordham University confirmed that they were being threatened by the Trump administration, and then they were threatened again the same day, saying that it is illegal for them, well, it's against their policy, and they will be sued if they give out that information. So Don the Con is afraid of his transcripts being known, his high school transcripts being known. He's afraid of all of this information that actually shows that he is not the stable genius that he wants other people to believe. However, he has all his constituents believing, oh, you're so wonderful, you're so graceful. He has all his constituents believing that. But honestly, this man is a joke. And the American people have fallen to this man's demise because this guy has turned around and fooled not me, he fooled me, but he fooled all those 300 people and all of his people who voted for him. They fooled him. And this is something that is sad. And this con man needs to, Trump humpers, this con man needs to get out of office, because let me tell you what he's doing. He is destroying the fabric of the American people. There have been more people who are just angry. Have you ever noticed someone who's cantankerous, who always starting problems, and who always can, you can't stand to be around them, and you always on edge? That's Donald Trump. That's the con man. That's Donald Trump. We're always on edge. Something, you're attacking this person. We never can rest easy at night to say, wow, thank God that we have a person in power who has civility. If we get attacked, we have a person who can talk to the American people and can believe the American people. That's not what we have in office. What we have in office is a person who goes on attack every day to prove this point. And then they sugarcoat it to say, oh, that's just him. He's just being a New Yorker, and that's just him. He's just telling it like it is. That's BS, y'all. That is BS. There should be a level of decorum. There should be a level of respect for the office. There should be a level of that. Regardless if you don't agree with Donald Trump, he should still respect you for knowing that this is a part of our democracy. But keep in mind, he never really wanted to be president anyway. This is what we're finding out. He never really wanted to be president. Only thing he wanted to do was to actually use the presidency as a marketing stunt and publicity stunt to get his Trump Towers done in Moscow. That's all he wanted to do. He never wanted to be president. What's up, Bert? What's going on, Bert? So he never really wanted to be president. And with that being said, let's talk about the Cohen hearing that happened yesterday. Day before yesterday. It was Crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was must-see TV. We were glued all to the television. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Thanks, Summer. It was phenomenal. But one of the things we got out of this, and it was interesting. I was like, God, here it is, Black History Month, and this happened. For those who don't remember what actually happened during this session, Mark Meadows, representative of North Carolina, oh my God, he actually brought up a prop. I call it a prop, and I'm gonna tell you why I call it a prop. The prop was Lynn Patton. The reason she was a prop is because she had no right to speak. In order to speak in this hearing, you had to be sworn in and you had to actually be invited in order to speak, right? Neither was sworn in. She was not sworn in or anything of that nature. Watch this video for those who did not see what happened, and then we can talk about it and we'll come back to this because this is very interesting.
Yes, I do. I asked Lynn to come today in her personal capacity to actually shed some light. How long have you known Ms. Patton?
I'm responsible for Lynn Patton joining the Trump Organization and the job that she currently holds.
Well, I'm glad you acknowledged that because you made some very demeaning comments about the president that Ms. Patton doesn't agree with. In fact, it has to do with your claim of racism. She says that as a daughter of a man born in Birmingham, Alabama, that there is no way that she would work for an individual who was racist. How do you reconcile the two of those, Mr.
As neither should I, as the son of a Holocaust survivor.
But, Mr. Cohen, I guess what I'm saying is I've talked to the president over 300 times. I've not heard one time a racist comment out of his mouth in private. So how do you reconcile it? Do you have proof of those conversations? Do you have proof? Yes or no?
I do.
Oh, where's the proof?
Ask Ms. Patton how many people who are black are executives at the Trump Organization, and the answer is zero.
I just want to put on the record as being a Black American and having endured the public comments of racism from the sitting president. As being a black person, I can only imagine what's being said in private. And to prop up one member of our entire race of black people and say that that nullifies that is totally insulting. And in this environment of expecting a president to be inclusive and to look at his administration speaks volume.
Okay. Also, Rashida Twibbs, she went in on him, and that's what really actually started. Mark Meadows feels as if the president has never uttered a racist word in his life. And he goes on to talk about, and I don't have those videos, so I'm not going to bore you with it, but he goes on to talk about how he has not been racist because she called him out. She said, look, what you did, and this is what Rashida did, and you also saw the other representatives say that this was racist. You used that woman as a prop. And he swears up and down he did not do that. He swears up and down that he did not use Miss Patton as a prop. And he said that he has mixed kids, and he did not use that woman as a prop. Well, see, the interesting thing is that video never lies, right? It just never lies. There's always a video, especially when you're a politician. So when he said that, the internet just did what they did best. They went out and they made him out to be a jackass liar like he is. So this is Mark Meadows running for office, running for his congressional seat, running for office in 2012. He's a part of the Tea Party caucus, or the Freedom Caucus, you want to call it. So he ran, and this is what he said about then president at the time, President Barack Obama. Watch this.
Well, it's good to be here with you today. I thank you so much for allowing me just a few minutes to talk with you and share a few things. But, you know, it's interesting when the more we find out, the more we realize how wrong the direction we're going. And so what we're going to do is take back our country. 2012 is the time that we're going to send Mr. Obama home to Kenya or wherever it is. We're going to do it.
So this man is not racist, but yet and still he's using race-bait mentality or terminology in order to say that President Obama is from Kenya. He's already said he wasn't from Kenya and all those different things at that time, 2008. But yet and still, him, just like Donald Trump, spent 9 years saying something racist and vile about the president of America, President Barack Obama, and they kept saying it. But this is the same guy who turns around and says that I'm not racist. And then for those who are in the back, because I know you guys are watching in the back too, who don't believe that. Actually, let me go here before I play this. So Lynn Patton, when all this went down, and I was like, okay, good. Lynn, just be quiet. Don't say anything. Just calm down. Don't say anything. But when you are, I hate to use this word, y'all, but I'm just going to say it. When you are the token, when you are in a position, when you are the token, this is what you get. You get people like Lynn Patton coming to your defense. And she was on Fox and Friends. And let me play some sound for you. I was utterly disappointed in what she said. Let me play some sound for you.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. The president does not see color, race, creed, religion. What he sees is success and failure. And whether that manifests itself as a person, a place, a property, a restaurant, a TV show, a policy, a country, a community, he makes no differentiation. And so to me, that's what makes people uncomfortable, is that he doesn't care what people think and he's going to tell it like it is. Right. One of the things I do want to say is that, he also doesn't care what imaginary quota the mainstream media thinks he should have either in his administration or at his companies. Mm-hmm. He's been empowering women and minorities for years.
Yes, he's been empowering women for years by raping them, by sleeping with them, sleeping with a 13-year-old girl. Yeah, he's been empowering women for years on this. I just don't understand why Miss Patton felt the need to go on and to defend Donald Trump. I get it. You have a job in the White House, but you could have kept quiet. You could have kept quiet and you could have just said, look, I'm not feeling well. I'm going through something right now. But you went ahead and said this. I think it's stupid. All right. She also goes on to address the fact that she was being used as a prop. And they asked her this on Fox and Friends. Watch this.
Prop, token. What I'd like to ask the Congresswoman from Michigan is, why does she take the word of a self-confessed perjurer and criminally convicted white man over a black female who's highly educated, rose up through the ranks of one of the most competitive companies in real estate. You spoke before 25 million people at the Republican National Convention and now works in one of the most historic administrations in history. And so to me, that would be my question. That's more racist than being put up there as a quote unquote prop. Trump has time and time again done so much for the black community, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Okay, y'all. Miss Patton obviously is doing everything in her power to protect her job. She's doing everything in her power to protect her job. That's what she's doing. Everything in her power to protect whatever job she has going on right now. Keep in mind, she was a party planner. She was a party planner. No formal form of political teaching, no form of that. She was a party planner. So my job right now is not to throw Miss Patton under the bus because I don't want to contribute to that. I don't want to contribute to her ill-advised and her form of position right now. So I don't want to contribute to that, but this is what I will do. I'm going to remind Lynn Patton and everyone else who's in the back how racist Donald Trump is. For those people who forgot about it. If you are MSNBC junkie like I am, my two favorite people to watch is Ali Vesey and Stephanie Rule. Well, they broke down some racist stuff that Donald Trump did. Watch this.
White House staffers are, quote, terrified of what could be on Omarosa's next tape. The former Trump insider says she has recordings of him using the N-word. But these allegations of racism are not the first time we've heard this against this president.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders says it was. Said we didn't hear anything until the campaign.
So we're going to jog the memories of those 378 staffers who work in this White House. Let's start with a video from 1989. This is Donald Trump on NBC.
A well-educated black has a tremendous advantage over a well-educated white in terms of the job market. And I think sometimes a black may think that they don't really have the advantage or this or that, but in actuality, today, currently, it's a great, I've said on occasion, even about myself, if I was starting off today, I would love to be a well-educated black because I really believe they do have an actual advantage today.
Okay, and there's much more. In the 1970s, the Justice Department claimed that Trump's real estate company tried to avoid renting apartments to African Americans. Several of Trump's former casino workers have claimed he gave preferential treatment to white workers. In 1989, Trump urged the death penalty for 5 black and Latino teenagers known as the Central Park Five. He said they were guilty of raping a white woman even 10 years after DNA evidence exonerated them. 23 years later, Trump claimed that then President Barack Obama was not born in the United States. And in 2015, Trump kicked off his campaign with this.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Some fine people. It hasn't stopped, by the way. In June 2017, the New York Times reported Trump said 15,000 immigrants from Haiti, quote, all have AIDS, and over 40,000 Nigerians would never, quote, go back to their huts. The White House pushed back on those claims. Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on...
So, just that little bit that Ali Vesey, Ali and Stephanie Rule did is just enough to just remind us all that this president is a damn racist. And there should be no question. And also Mark Meadows is a racist. And I hope, and he's a representative from North Carolina, so I will be talking to a couple of people in that area to make sure that we can get rid of his behind, because he does not need to be a representative of North Carolina at all, especially with that type of, I have my mixed grandchildren, or I have my prop that's African American, I have all those different things. This constitutes me not being a racist. For those people who are on the other side and who actually think that that's not racist, it's racist. It's racist for them to even think that that is not racist. First of all, black people are not pawns. They're not minstrels. They're not props. They're not anything. Humans are not, period. Just humans, okay? But when you bring out a person to say, this is my African American, or this is my good buddy black person, this is this is that, you know, all you're doing, you are re-intensifying the notion that the fact that your ass is a racist. And that's what's happening right now. It is reiterating those things. And what we need to do is to call it out. And I'm so glad that the representatives called his behind out, because it is racist. Donald Trump does racist things. The problem is that America has already tolerated it. America is okay with it. America is understanding that, guess what? Maybe we'll allow this to go away because he's just like that comedian who can say anything he wants to say and we will believe him completely. And that's what Donald Trump has done. And that's why his friends who are on the other side, or the GOP friends, that's why they allow him to continue doing the things that they're doing, because they know that their times are running up. They know it. Even the former governor of Maine today said that the reason that we have an electoral college is to keep minorities from being in power. This is what he said today. The reason that we have an electoral college, he's the ex-governor of Maine. He said the reason we have an electoral college is because it is to prevent minorities from being in power. There is a lot of fear in government. There's a lot of fear. And let me tell you why there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear because the fear is that if people who have been oppressed get in power, they're going to do what to the people who are oppressed? They're going to lift them up. And see, a lot of people are afraid of that. A lot of people want to keep people who are oppressed down. They don't want to give them to study. They don't want to give them education. They want to cut the schools. They want to do all those different things because their family and friends, it's going to affect them. And that's why they're so afraid. They're so afraid because honestly, they really think that black people get in power, they're going to turn around and do the same thing that they did to us. Here's a news flash, and this is all to my allies and those who are not my allies. Black people are not willing. If we don't want to go out and kill and to desecrate people, that's not even us. People just want to live and they want to enjoy their life. They want to go out here and they want to raise their kids. They want something safe. And I believe that's what we all want in America. But somehow we have a leader who is extremely cantankerous. We have a leader who is extremely difficult. We have a leader who actually thinks he's a stable genius, but he actually is a dumb ass fool. We have this particular leader who sits up there every day and tries to fool the American people into thinking that his ass can actually read, to try to think that he is 200 and something pounds, to try to make people believe that he actually is a sex symbol, to actually make people believe that he is smart when he goes over there to North Korea and he is in this love affair with Kim Jong-un and walks away with absolutely nothing, no deal, no nothing, but he's the great deal maker. He's fooling people. And it's okay because we've allowed it. The time has come for that mess to be cut out. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Summer, Will, all you guys that come in, Rochelle, Marquita, thanks for watching. Everyone else, thanks for watching so much. I will see you guys. I'm going to try to do one tomorrow. I'm going to do a live tomorrow. I think I'm going to do a live tomorrow because I missed Tuesday. So I definitely want to do a live tomorrow because I got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got to keep talking about some stuff because politics is flying right now. This is flying. This is going crazy. All right. Thank you guys again. Happy Black History Month, right? We got to do it over, y'all. We got to do it over.